fights.
5 Live Boxing.
So it's the week of a big fight, and traditionally in the week of a big fight we have a bonus pod, or 2 or 3 or 4, and as we did in New York for Katie Taylor, we had 6 pods. In fact, we had 7 if you include the one I did with her mother afterwards.
And then BBC ended up airing the fight.
And then the BBC showed the fight. That was Eddie Hearn, you heard that. We're in the 12x3 boxing gym, Darren Barker's gym in the East End of London. We're not doing Eddie in the toilets, but we will be doing the fighters down where the toilets are. Eddie, first of all, thanks very much. Just a quick word on that week in New York. We were pinching ourselves each day when we were there. I've had to pinch myself since. It's got better and better. It's aging beautifully.
It is, especially when you look back at, everything in these ages is captured, isn't it, by social media, by photographers. And when you look back at the crowd, I posted on my Instagram yesterday a picture of Katie Taylor being held aloft, and, the emotion on her face. You can see the emotion on everyone's face, the crowd, and it was so special. It was almost, dare I say, you can never say a Canelo event was an anticlimax, but with him losing, you look back on those 2 weeks and say MSG was just, so memorable for life.
Yeah, I think that's true.
She produced a performance that I think many felt like might not be in the tank anymore, and she proved to people that she's still got plenty in the tank, and it was a great fight.
These two have got plenty in the tank on Saturday night at the O2. Joshua Buatsi, Craig Richards fighting for pride, for British pride, rankings, positioning, and I think both have a little bit to prove, especially, I would argue, Joshua Buatsi.
It's a really interesting fight, and I think if you watch the head-to-head back, it's got a little bit spicy and a little bit fiery, and I think Craig Richards, what he's trying to say is, I've done it differently to you. Yeah. And by the way, sometimes people criticise an amateur that's been given a big promotional contract and been given a path on the big shows. By the way, they earned that right through their achievements in the amateurs.
Absolutely.
But what Craig Richards is saying is, you've been given so far these big nights and these easier opponents. I've had to come from small hall shows. Yeah. I've had to jump in with Frank Buglioni on a week's notice for the British title. Yeah. I've had to fight Dimitri Bivol when I probably wasn't ready for Dimitri Bivol, and you haven't. And I'm still here. And you know what? I fancy it. And Buatsi didn't like that. Bunsey, Buatsi there's 2 sides to Joshua Buatsi.
Yeah, very much
there's
so.
A humble, respectful, one of the nicest guys you can ever meet, and then there's a horrible SOB who switches on just before the ring walk. Yeah. Well, he switched on well before the ring walk this time, and that's quite unusual for him. And this week's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Of course, with Dimitri Bivol's win against Canelo Alvarez, Craig Richards' defeat, 115, 113 twice, probably looks,
real good.
And in boxing, a lot of people see this as a 50-50 fight. Outside of the hardcore boxing element, of course, the hype machine that has been behind Joshua Buatsi sees him as the favourite for this fight. But it's a really, really good domestic fight. And again, these are the kind of fights domestically we should be seeing. And I think I see it as a 50-50 fight.
Is Craig the best man he's fought? I think he is.
I think so. Look, Bolotnik's last time out was extremely tough, but this is a different kind of, don't forget, these guys know each other. I don't like to call the fight the Battle of Croydon or Crystal Palace because it sounds too small.
Yeah.
But then you can call it the Battle of South London, then you can call it the Battle of London. But the fact is, these two grew up a stone's throw away from each other, and they know each other very well. And Craig Richards brings something different in this fight. He brings a domestic challenge. He brings good size, great power, good chin. He's got to believe in himself, Craig Richards, because I feel like because he hasn't had that build-up, and again, if he believed in himself against Dimitri Bivol, perhaps he could have won that fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's got to believe in himself in this fight. Yeah. Buatsi's going to be very dangerous very early. But I think as the fight unfolds, the later it goes, the more it may suit Craig Richards. But he's going to be very spiteful early on, Buatsi, and he's gonna really let those hands go.
Yeah, I got that feeling at the head-to-head that Buatsi, during that conference, it was a tiny low-key affair, you remember, but there was a lot at stake, which is odd. It's usually the other way around. Usually, as you know, there's not a lot at stake, and they build it up like Derek Chisora throwing tables. But those two, you could really sense it. I have a feeling that Buatsi really wants to prove himself in this fight. I think
he feels disrespected.
Bingo.
I think he's saying no. I haven't had it easy. I've come from here, and and he's saying, no, I'm talking about in the pros. Yeah. You've had it easy, and he didn't like that.
No, he didn't like it at all.
And I think there is the spite inside him that wants to do a job on Craig Richards. And it's great that you got the camps. You got Peter Sims, and who's desperate for the victory.
Yeah.
You got
Virgil
Hunter coming over 258, Anthony Joshua behind Joshua Buatsi, and there's a lot to play for in this fight. And we know that we talked about the winner fighting Canelo Alvarez. Of course, that's not going to be the case.
Yes.
But if Canelo Alvarez fights Triple G next, the winner of Saturday will probably fight Dimitri Bivol, and that's a huge fight.
And where do we stand with that? Because the week after, obviously, Katie Taylor, you were in Las Vegas for Canelo, which we thought was always going to be a competitive and a hard fight, but it turned out to be a very, an odd fight in the sense that Bivol, I thought, won clearly. Canelo didn't look right, but maybe that was because Bivol was so good. Who knows? I wasn't ringside, so I'm always a bit cautious about over calculating what I've seen on screen. So the way it looks at the moment is that correct me if I'm wrong, Canelo does want to fight Bivol again. Correct. And that could be in September-ish or something. But if he chooses the Gennady-Golovkin route, which was half the plan anyway, had he won, that would also be in September. So that would leave Dimitri Bivol, with wanting a dance partner, and the winner of this could be that dance partner. Is that it?
I think when you look at Canelo Alvarez, he really has two options next. Number one is to go straight into the rematch with Dimitri Bivol, which I think is, because of his pride.
That's where his head is.
Yeah, but also the trilogy with Gennady Golovkin is the biggest fight in boxing, and a lot more people give Golovkin more chance now because of that fight. So if Canelo chooses to fight Triple G next, he will then rematch Dimitri Bivol in May.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Dimitri Bivol would defend his world title, probably against the winner of Buatsi Richards. So, we'll see how that one plays out. But certainly from a world championship level, Saturday, very important fight.
And finally, Ed, it's the obligatory question I have to ask you that I ask you all the time. It's just different opponents sometimes. Alexander Usyk, champion. Anthony Joshua, former champion, 2-time champion. Sometimes we forget that. Where are we with that fight? Which we know it's going to happen. Where are we at the moment?
Well, I mean, the fight, as we know, is done, and now we just wait to confirm the venue for that fight, which we're very close to doing. I mean, July 23rd in the Middle East is a front runner. It's not signed yet, but we are 9 weeks away. So you will get an official announcement next week for Joshua against Usyk.
Lovely.
And then you won't have to ask me that question anymore.
And by the way, next week we're coming down. And we're coming to Mascals because we're doing something with Dad next week.
Listen,
on the book.
I've never seen anyone try and sell a book so hard as my old man.
Unbelievable.
All he wants to do is beat me. Yeah. He's going to Cardiff on Friday.
I know. He showed up in Glasgow last week.
Working man's club.
He's doing everywhere.
To sell 200 books. I mean, he is a grafter. He's been to Lakeside, he's been to Romford, he's been to Sheffield, Glasgow. I think one he turned up at Waterstone somewhere. I think it was about one man and his dog turned up, but he don't care.
So the moment he gets one book above your sales,
he's going to beat me because he got in the Sunday Times bestsellers. And he phoned me up the other day to say, no, but he phoned me up the other day and said, I'm in the Sunday Times bestsellers. I went, so was I. He went, no, you were number one in the business section of the Sunday Times. I'm in the general list. Oh, and I'm like, is that what you phoned me to tell me?
Book 2 coming,
He's on it.
Book 2 coming. Eddie, thanks very much indeed, Ed. We'll speak to you on Saturday at the fight and after the fight. I'm going to have to go outside now because it's inside Darren's gym. It is. You literally cannot breathe in there. And also know that I've got Craig Richards and Peter Sims, his trainer, in. There's a very fancy gym next door called Movement Labs, the Fitness Collective. So I'm going to go inside here because I know that's a bit quieter. Craig, you're getting closer and closer to a big fight. How's it been the last 4 or 5 or 6 weeks since you were face-to-face with Buatsi, where it looked to me and looked to other people like he got a little bit rattled by you?
Yeah, I think so. I think he gets a bit rattled by me. But it's been good. I've just had my head down, training very hard, but at the same time enjoying it, embracing all the bits that come with it. But yeah, I've just had my head down in the gym.
Were you surprised at that head-to-head, sort of how he sort of did bite a little bit? Because it wasn't like you were using great psychology on him. You just said, I think you've had it easy. I mean, it was a straightforward comment.
Yeah, it just shows that, as I said, his ego gets the better of him. He doesn't like anything negative towards him. It gets under his skin. So it showed that day. But it is what it is.
You know when you have fights, and you've had British title fights, you've had important fights that you've had to win to keep moving. In the week of those fights, the hard ones, do you sense something in yourself? And are you sensing it this week, or does this feel different? That's what I'm trying to get. Does this feel like a different? Because it's the biggest fight of your career, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you feel different?
I don't. I feel like it's like the other big fights because at the time they was the biggest fights in my career. When I boxed Jake Bull, that was a big crossover. That was where my career was really going.
You had to win.
I had to win. Had to. That was a must-win fight. So it was all on the line. So really, that was massive pressure then. Shakan Pitters going over to another channel to box for a title. That was a lot of pressure.
To fight their man.
To fight their man on their show. That was another fight what was very important for me and a lot of pressure. So now it's at this stage of my career, it's another fight was a lot of pressure and another big fight, but they're just as important as each other, because when I boxed then, that was the same pressure it is now. So I've been there before now.
Now, I asked you this before, and I'm going to ask you it again. Who's under more pressure, you or him?
Well, I believe equally as much as each other, because we both want to move on to the next stage and we both want it bad. Of course, he's got all the pressure on him in terms of he's expected to be that guy, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to move forward in my career. So there's so much pressure I put on myself to make sure I get the victory.
You know, with people approaching you, people in the boxing business, people you trust, talking to you, have they been coming up to you in this fight? What I'm saying is, you know, sometimes you're around a gym and there's 20 people there, and when you're fighting someone, they say, "Good luck, you'll do him."
Yeah.
And suddenly for this fight, is it like, "Yes, good luck on Saturday"? You know, they don't really want to say good luck to you because they don't think you're going to win. Have you found has it been a bit different?
Do you know what? Funny enough, no.
Okay.
I found
I asked the question.
I felt like
don't look at me like I've asked a stupid question.
No, it's a very good question, because when I boxed Dimitri Bivol, I did get that sense. When I boxed Dimitri Bivol, I was like, yeah, good luck.
Good luck on Saturday, Craig. You'll be all right, son. You'll be all right.
Put your gloves up and move your feet. But I think since then, I don't think people have doubted me as much.
Good.
So now I think people are saying good luck with a bit more enthusiastic. They believe that I can go out and get the job done. So I think based on previous fights, people have learnt to slightly not doubt me as much.
Yeah. You can do this, can't you? In your head,
Yeah.
I mean, you know it's a hard fight, but in your head, you've been there. You've had those 12 rounds. You've had those wins against the odds. You had that 12 rounds with Bivol.
Yeah.
You know you've got it in you, don't you?
Yeah, of course. I think I wouldn't have took the fight if I didn't believe otherwise. There was easier options. We could have went down easier paths. There was a different options we could have went down, and we've took this fight because we believe it, and it was the most rewarding win out of all the options on the table, and that's why we went for this one.
Craig, it's a pleasure talking to you, son. I really mean it.
Thank
it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move the microphone over here. It's a bit of magic. We're going to bring in Peter Sims, as trainer, to have a chat. Pete, he gave me the evils there, didn't he? I think I got on his nerves a little bit there. I wasn't meaning to drive him mad with those questions. I'm glad he's left the building. Pete, you prepared him. You prepared him for fights. Bivol was a hard fight. Other fights are hard. This is a hard fight 'cause it's got a bit of edge. It's got that bit of pride. That's something you must like. I mean, it's got that bit. And the edge for this, I forget any baubles or belts, or if he wins this, he'll get this. This is just about two men who just happen to live in, adjoining streets as good as. But there's a lot of pride at stake.
Yeah, I think when we come to these sort of crossroads in boxing in the career, it's not just about being a sport. It's about other things. It's about the show business, and it is about business. This is like career-changing, career-moving fights. And and every fighter in their career has to come across these fights. Spider's probably had a few more of these than what Buatsi has in his career so far. And he's been used to that. But I mean, getting him ready for this fight, it's been a proper team effort. I've always prepared Spider since I've had him 7-8 years, but this time it's been like I've done a lot of the tactical work. I've brought in Tony, my brother. He's been doing like the early morning work, the explosive work. I've brought in like Wild Bill from TW1, fresh on the pads to do the pads. I've got Jamie Danced from Empire to do the hands and the cuts.
And are you sensing a difference? I mean, if you keep in catalogues of what he does,
there's a massive difference. He's Chirag Patel. You've been doing his physio. Got Dan Lawrence, the nutritionist, and the strength and condition, and he's broke all his records, all his PBs. He's busted them all out the window.
And what about as a person? You're with him the fight week, so you know what he's like the Sunday before, the Monday before, the Tuesday, and the Wednesday here at the open session. Where's his head as compared to a normal fight week?
Do you know what, Steve? It's a well-known fact. That he comes and lives with me during camp for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we're really close. And he's done it a bit in this camp. He's so confident. He's so confident. When he fought Shakan Peters, Mickey Hennessy said to me after that fight, I knew he won that fight before he got in that ring. Wow. He's confident. He's so confident.
You could sense it.
He's just so confident in his training, in his self. And his ability, I've never seen him anything like it in my life. He's so confident in his fight.
Pete, listen, it's been a delight talking to you. It's a delight talking to him. I like old-fashioned fighters. I mean, if we use black and white film, okay, and you took your fancy T-shirt off, all the glittery writing on it, because that is a little bit fancy, if you don't mind me saying so. That might be questionable, the glittery writing on your shirt there, Peter.
That's right.
neither nor there. If you took that away and we filmed this in black and white, especially in this gym here, this could be something from 1972 72. I love that.
It could be 1972. Thanks for Movement Lab as well. It's
Yeah,
filming now.
But boys did a good job, didn't they? In fact, they didn't have a lot of say, did they? Sorry.
We just barged in here, didn't we? But it's good, isn't it? You know, this is what it's all about.
It's a proper fight. Pete, thanks very much.
Thanks, Steve. Cheers, mate.
Ah, beautiful.
Tell mate. Tell.
I'm going to walk outside because I know that Joshua Buatsi has arrived. Yeah, there he is. I have to try and he's with his team. If I can get Joshua Buatsi inside here, yeah, that's great. Joshua, thanks very much for talking to us. You look really very, very serious. I like that. Camp been good. Everything been fantastic with Virgil Hunter. I know you've been back for a couple of weeks training at your old amateur club, South Norwood and Victory. But you still had that long camp out in California. And how was it? Has everything gone well?
Great camp, good camp, Steve. I haven't seen anyone yet to make me smile apart from you. Hence why the smile is creeping out.
Thank you.
But no, it's been a good camp. Happy to be back.
It's a big fight, this.
It is.
Really important fight.
Yeah, it is, man. I've said people have given it all kinds of titles, but for me, it's an important fight, a fight that I must win. So it's not much to say, man.
And there's pride at stake. There's a bit of pride at stake. There's a lot at stake. There's careers at stake. And in all fairness, it's a fight you need.
Whenever I fight, everything's at stake. So again, I don't want to, set this apart from everything. It's the most important fight because it's my next fight, and it's one that I must win, and that's it. Yeah. And you're not a man that dwells on things, are you? So when you have the head-to-head with him, that's the head-to-head. Then you get back to training and you just get ready for this fight. You're not been thinking Craig Richards night after night after night, have you? Especially being in the States, it's different.
Yeah. So you're removed.
I'm removed from everything. Do you know what I mean? But my opponent is always on my mind when I'm training, 100%. When I'm training, I'm making sure that I'm doing what it's going to take to win. I'm improving myself all the time. But who I'm training for, that's the reason why I've been doing the work that I've been doing. So that stays on my mind, but the whole bulk of it is to make sure that I'm improving.
You still got that hunger, Josh? You still got that hunger?
I'm trying to think where would go to.
Yeah.
And I always say my drive is not just for me. If it were just for me, I would have stopped long time ago, So my drive's not just for me. I want to win, cool, but it goes past me.
Yeah. And finally, and it is really the final question, do you allow yourself to think on about world title fights and big fights? Do you allow yourself to dream a little bit about that?
We all have a dream, Steve, but I think for me, and as you know in boxing, if it's not on paper, then don't worry yourself about it. What are you saying?
I can't believe you said that.
If it's not on paper, don't worry about it. Get the fight that's next out of the way and then see what's happened.
All right. That's been brilliant, Josh. That's
Steve,
exactly what I wanted.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
I'm going to leave Joshua Buatsi in there to do the final bit before he gets inside Darren's 12x3 gym here in the East End. No guts, no glory. That's the motto here. And I want to try and get the man. There he is there. Alen The Babic Savage, who's on the undercard. Alan, could I just get a couple of seconds with you, but as you walk to your car, please? Just for a couple of questions. Just give me 2 minutes, Alan. Alan, just a couple of quick questions, please. Just
couple of what?
A couple of quick questions. Alan, you're
get away from me.
Please, Alan, you're
I don't want to talk.
Alan, you're
I don't want to talk.
Everyone wants to hear. Everyone wants your story.
Why are you bothering me?
Everyone wants your story.
This guy's bothering me.
Just give me 1
Where's
minute
my
of your
whistle?
time. Just give me 1 minute of your
You
time.
got a
Alan.
whistle?
Just give me 1 minute of your time. The whole street is looking. That's good. You do it really well, man. You're still enjoying this boxing game. You're still enjoying it.
I love it, brother. I just love it. And I want to say thank you to all of my Savage Army in the UK.
There is a Savage Army, isn't there?
There is a big Savage Army. It's a movement. And I'm getting these shots only because of them. Because they keep mentioning me everywhere and everybody keep asking where is the Savage. So take them from the bottom of my heart and I'm going to die for them in the ring. I'm going to go all the way.
And they know that, don't they? They know. Because your last fight, you were hurt against the big guy, the French guy.
Did.
And then you came back. It was unbelievable.
Because I'm never going to let them down. Never going to let them down. Because if I let them down, I'm going to feel I let myself down. I don't want to do that.
You have too much pride for that.
I have too much pride and I have too much love for that. I think love is the best word for all of this. I love those guys.
You love this sport, don't you? And you love those people.
Yeah, I love my country. I love your country. And I love this stuff. I can't even express it.
Let me ask you this, before all your people are waiting to get in the car, let me ask you this. When was it that you realised that there were all these people the Savage Army that loved you. When was it? Because you entertaining. Tell me.
I know. Very good question. You're a very good journeyman.
I know. I do my business. I'm good, son.
I know. Listen, I realized that when I had the first press conference against Chanel Winters.
Yes,
there was a lot of swearing, F this, and I was like, no, nobody's gonna love me, and the people just accepted me, and I just got goosebumps. I was like, what?
They want you.
Yeah, they want more of the Savage. What? what did I do, bro?
How about that press conference? Because your conferences are famous. I show my friends. That's true. How about the press conference when you begged Eddie to get you a loss? You said, Eddie, you have to get me a loss. I don't want to be unbeaten.
This is stupid. This game is stupid. Why do I have to beat this guy? Because I'm not that guy.
I know you're not.
I'm not 10-0 guy. Perfect stuff. Look at me. I'm 10-0. No.
But you give everything in the ring.
I want to be 10-4. With 10-4-3, but everybody want to see me. That is the real fighter. I want to be 35-17-8. I want to do that. I want to do something different.
Listen, I'm going to say this now, right? There are 1,000 boxers in Britain, okay? And you are the most original.
You are. No, you are.
You're the most original.
You're an Englishman.
No one else entertains like you entertain. It's the truth.
Thank you. It means so much to me.
No, Alan.
It means so much.
Savage, it's a pleasure. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you for talking to me.
Thanks for scaring everybody in the street.
Thanks for talking to me. No, get away.
So that was Alen The Babic Savage, who fights on Saturday at the O2 live, an exclusive on 5 Live. I'm not sure the Savage's fight will be on, but we will have Joshua Buatsi against Craig Richards. And as Eddie Hearn said at the top of this pod, the winner of that could fight Dimitri Bivol. That could happen. It's a fight that's a very real opportunity. So we've heard from Buatsi today, we've heard from Craig Richards today, we've heard from Peter Sims today, we've heard from Eddie Hearn, and then we've had that wandering down the street with Alen The Babic Savage. People were stopping their cars. He's entertaining, but he has got, as he calls it, the Savage Army. And they come out for him. They like him. They come out for him. He fights with his heart on his sleeve. He's entertaining. He's exciting. And you know what? He's got a good sense of humour, and you can't ask for a lot more. I hope you've enjoyed this. I really like these bonus pods in Fight Week. I think they're fantastic. See you on Saturday night if you're listening, 10 p.m. And we'll be back next Monday. Thank you.
Let's get ready to rumble! 5 Live Boxing.